والنار للمشركين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آل الله واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أعداء الله إلى يوم لقاء الله. أما بعد أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله ونظم أمركم. Brothers and probably sister, I advise you and myself to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and gain more taqwa and piety during our daily life. The characteristic which Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam advised us to gain, and for the sake of piety and taqwa, he went to Karbala and became killed. As you know, the revolutions and uprisings which happen in our world, normally they are the same. For example, a nation, some people which are fed up with oppression and unjust system, they start an uprising and they start a revolution. If they gain victory, maybe for some years their revolution will be continued. But definitely after some years, maybe 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, step by step, people start to forget the slogans and the principles of the revolution. Like the revolution of French, the revolution which happened in Ittihad Sovieti many years ago. Today, if you want to get some information, you cannot go to people of French or to people of Russia. You should go to library and get some information. So people completely forgot these two important revolutions which affected the whole world. I want to say each and every revolution has and have expiry date, except the revolution of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. You know, each year when the month of Muharram arrives, we think this revolution happened just 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Why? Because this revolution itself is a big university, is a big school of thought. In this revolution, you can find all those necessary principles and teachings which we need to make a spiritual society, a healthy society. Maybe you question me and say, where is that spiritual society? It's not the fault of the lessons of Imam Hussein, it's our fault. Because many times we are sitting in the sessions which they are belong to Imam Hussein. We are listening to his message, his school of thought, but we are not ready to practice. For this reason, we don't have the society that Imam Hussein fought because of that society, to create that society. So the revolution of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam does not have expiry date like other revolutions. As I say, because this revolution itself is a big school of thought, is a big university. We can find all of those principles, slogans, and criteria that we need to build a healthy and spiritual society. Inshallah, in first khutbah and second khutbah, I share with you some of the political and social messages of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. One of the important political and social messages of Imam Hussein and lessons of Imam Hussein is to revive Sharia. To revive Sharia. It was not only the duty of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. It's not the duty of me as a scholar. It's the duty of all of us as Shia, as the propagator of this great school of thought. To revive Sharia. What does it mean? Means during years and centuries, our enemies looking for an opportunity to destroy our school of thought, to undermine our principles, to undermine the slogans of our school of thought, to undermine our aqidah and the aqidah of our generation. Today, if you go and read those ahadith which we can find in Shia book, you can find a lot of things that are not logical. It means during years and centuries, our enemy have tried to, bring something in our religion, make bid'ah, and introduce our religion as a superstitious religion. Religion. As a religion, as a school of thought with khurafa. So here, a person, a group should be always ready to revive Sharia. To revive Sharia, we need 3 conditions. Number 1, first of all, we should know our school of thought. How much information we have about our school of thought. Our school of thought is not only to come and sit here and pray and go back to our home. No. There are a lot of Quranic principles, Shiism principles. How many of them we know? Social principles, principles that we can implement in our individual life. First of all, we should know our school of thought, our Sharia. The second condition is we should know our enemy that always looking for an opportunity to bring bid'ah in our religion. And the third one, which is very, very important, maybe we know our Sharia, maybe we are familiar with different principles of our Sharia, of our school of thought, but in the field of action, we are not ready to practice them. Then it's useless. We know why Imam Hussein went in Karbala, why he uprised against Yazid. Several times we read and we sat down and listened to different lectures. We know all of them, but we are not ready to implement in our daily life, in our economy, in our morality, in our individual life, in our social life. Imam Hussein had all of these 3 conditions. He knew Islam very well because he was the owner of Islam. He was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A person that he offered Islam to Jaziratul Arab. So he knew Islam very well. And also he knew, the second condition, he knew that after the demise of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially from the time of 3rd Khalifa, Sahaba started to put away Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, put away and ignoring different Quranic principles, and those principles that Prophet Muhammad highlight them in the teaching, in his sermon. According to the history of Islam, some of Sahaba keep thousands of women slaves in their home. Talhan Zubayr, many expensive horses, camels. They accumulate money over money. Where they, all of them came? From Baytul Mal. So Imam Hussein knew that Sahaba ignoring Sunnah, ignoring Quran. And they started to bring bid'ah in Islam. And also, the most important condition, he implemented Quranic principles. And those principles, which in Ahadith al-Nabawi have been highlighted by Prophet Muhammad and by Ali ibn Abi Talib and by Imam Hussein Mujtaba, he led them to be implemented in his daily life. So this is the first lesson and message of Imam Hussein. The second message of Imam Hussein is wilaya and leadership. Very important political and social message of Imam Hussein. We should know, in Islam, in contrary to the world of Christianity and to the world of Judaism, there are some principles that from A to Z, they are political. They are politic. For example, in a society, a Muslim person cannot stay as a neutral person, especially when there is fighting between haqq and batil. And we know always there is fighting between haqq and batil. Here he cannot say it's not my business. No, he has responsibility to go ahead and stand on the side of haqq and raise his voice against batil. That famous hadith, all of us here, من سمع مناديا ينادي يا للمسلمين ولم يجبه فليس بمسلم. If a Muslim raising his voice and begging for help of other Muslims, and the other Muslim heard his voice, and they have capacity and they have ability to come ahead and help him, but they are ignoring him, such a person, such people, such group cannot call themselves as a Muslim. Even they pray, even they fast, even they go for Hajj. Islam has very clear definition for the issue of ruling. According to Quran, according to those ahadith which Prophet Muhammad and his beloved family left behind, ruling is specified for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has right to rule over mankind. But Allah offered this, power and his permission to Ulul Azm Prophet. Give them this responsibility to rule over human being society. And the last name was Khatamul Anbiya. And he established a government in Medina. And after the demise of Prophet Muhammad, again according to the willing of Allah and according to Quranic verses, this responsibility transfers to 12 infallible Imams. In the time of Ghaybatul Kubra, while we don't have access to an infallible Imam, what happened for this responsibility? Can we say Islamic Ummah are confused, are ignored? They don't deserve to have a rule? No. This power, according to a hadith from Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif already transfer to a faqih. But any faqih? Not at all. They consider very difficult conditions, some difficult conditions for a faqih that he want to be leader of Islamic ummah. For example, they say sa'inan li nafsih, hafizan li dineh, mukhalifan li hawa, muti'an li amr mawla. He should be against his desire. Hafizan li dineh, he should be protector, as a protector for the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt. Muti'an li amr mawla, without any question, he's obedient in full in front of orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, he should have ability of politic ability and management ability. So in Islam, we have some principles that clearly explain what's the right of ruler over people and what's the right of people over their leader. If their leader became unqualified, what will be the responsibility of the society? Does Islamic society have right to raise their voice and uprise against the ruler, or no? The revolution of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam is full of political lessons. From the time that Imam Hussein left Medina to Mecca, and from Mecca he wanted to go to Kufa, if you see in different opportunity, he was trying, and he has tried to, disgrace the real picture, of Bani Umayyah, to disgrace them, to show the real picture. They say to them, these people thinking only about their stomach, they don't care about you. They are womanizers. They are lover of this world. Wallah, one day if we become successful to propagate the school of thought of Ashura as it is, then the whole mustazafin and those people that they are looking for justice will be attracted to this great school of thought. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the success to implement those messages and lessons of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, that we have access to them. A'udhu billah min ash-shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahus samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Muhammad أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة لأهل التقوى واليقين والجنة للموحدين اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على رسول الله وعلى علي بن أبي طالب وعلى الصديقة الطاهرة وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى محمد بن علي وعلى جعفر بن محمد وعلى موسى بن جعفر وعلى علي بن موسى الرضا وعلى محمد بن علي وعلى علي بن محمد وعلى الحسن العسكري وعلى القائم المهدي اللهم عجل في فرجه. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله ونزم أمركم. Brothers and sisters, I advise you and myself to gain more taqwa during our daily life. Only by taqwa and piety we can reach to the real salvation which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala considers for all of us. Otherwise, we will be loser. Without taqwa, without piety, definitely we will be loser in this world and hereafter. As you know, today is the day of Tasu'ah. According to the history of Karbala, the day of Tasu'ah was in somehow introduction for difficult day, the day of Ashura. In such a day, Shimr, one of the commander of Ibn Ziyad and the killer of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, arrived in Karbala with thousands of soldiers. And Ahlul Bayt, Salamullah alayhim ajma'in, before the day of Tasu'ah, still had hope that people will come from Kufa and help them. But in the day of Tasu'ah, they became disappointed and desperate from the help of people of Kufa. Thousands of soldiers entered the land of Karbala, arrived in the land of Karbala with with Shimr al-Jawshan. And Shimr carried 2 letters. One letter, he already received some type of protection for Abul Fazl al-Abbas. Ibn Ziyad wrote in that letter, if Abul Fazl al-Abbas leave Hussein, then he will have full immunity and security from our side. Because there are some relative relation between Abul Fazl al-Abbas and Shimr. Of course, all of us know the answer of Abul Fazl al-Abbas, Salamullah alayhi. He said, no, I'm not a person to betray my Imam. I'm not a person to betray my brother. I'm not a person to leave alone the grandson, the youth of paradise, Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And the second letter is a warning to Ibn Sa'd. In that letter, Ibn Ziyad wrote, Ibn Sa'd, I did not send you there to play with Hussein, to waste your time. As soon as you read this letter, you have 2 options. Number 1, you go and fight with Hussein. Number 2, you leave the responsibility of the army to Shimr. According to historian, as soon as Ibn Sa'd read this letter, without any hesitation, look at the law of dunya. You know, sometimes law of dunya could destroy us. We should be careful. You know, one side was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of them knew Imam Hussein alayhi salam. All of them knew that Hussein was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad. Hussein was the youth of paradise. All of them remember that famous hadith of Prophet Muhammad that Hussein minni wa ana min Hussein. But the law of this material world sometimes could destroy a person. As soon as he read this letter without any hesitation, he said, Ya khayl Allah, irkabi wa bil jannate ubshiri. Oh, the army of God. Look at his words. He tried to play with the mind of people of Kufa. Oh, the army of Allah, go to Hussein and fight with Hussein. I have good news for you. Paradise is waiting for you. Fighting with the Ashraful Makhluqat, with the family of Ashraful Makhluqat. Historian said in that moment while 30,000 soldiers of Kufa approaching the tent of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. Imam Hussein was sitting in front of his tent. He had a very short nap. When Zainab saw the thousands of soldiers approaching and women start to be terrified, she rushed toward his beloved brother Imam Hussein and woke up and said, this nation maybe had some intention. They start to approach our tent. Here, Imam Hussein said, I had a short nap and I saw my beloved grandfather in my dream. He said, oh Hussein, I'm waiting for you. And then Hazrat Zainab salamallahu alayha started to cry. He started to hit on his face, on her face. And Imam Hussein asked her to be patient. Then Imam Hussein sent his beloved brother, very loyal brother, Abul Fazl al-Abbas, said to him, I know these people made their decision to finish their job. Go and try if you can get one day more, if you get delay the war one day more, because I want to prepare myself. Tonight I want to read dua, I want to recite Quran. We need this opportunity. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam said, in the day of Tasu'ah, the family of my grandfather Hussein ibn Ali was surrounded from different sides, and they became desperate and disappointed from people of Kufa. I end my second khutbah with a conversation which happened between Imam Hussein and between Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of the second Khalifa. You know, from the day that Imam Hussein left Medina, went to Mecca and then come to Karbala, he met different types of people. And some conversation happened between Imam Hussein and those people. And really, those conversations could break our heart. One of those conversations happened between him and Abdullah ibn Umar. When Imam Hussein arrived in Mecca, Abdullah ibn Umar already was there. Several times he approached. He was a very politic person. By his tongue, he's supporting Imam Hussein. By his action, he was against. But by his action, he was against Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. Several times he approached Imam Hussein, advised him. In one of his conversations, he said, "Oh Hussein, what Yazid wants from you? A simple allegiance. Just shake his hand, save yourself, your family, and the blood of other Muslims." Then he said, I hear the hadith from Rasulullah, that Rasulullah says, my Hussein will be killed in the land of Karbala. And Hussein in the day of Ashura will raising his voice and say, Hal min nasri yansurni. Any person who listens and who hears this, voice, and his help and his begging, if he refusing his Hal min nasri yansurni, then he will have a miserable life. And then Imam Hussein answered him. Look at the words of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Really could break the heart of a mu'min. Ya Abu Abdurrahman, أما علمت أن من حوان الدنيا على الله أن رأس يحيى بن زكريا أهدي إلى بغي من بغايا بني إسرائيل? Oh Abu Abdurrahman, don't you know that in this world which is very down and inferior and trivial, In such a world, they kill one of the prophets of Allah with the name of Yahya, and then they send his head as a gift to an adulterer. أما تعلم أن بني إسرائيل كانوا يقتلون ما بين طلوع الفجر إلى طلوع الشمس 70 نبيا ثم يجلسون في أسواقهم يبيعون ويشترون كأن لم يصنعوا شيئا. الله أكبر. He said, don't you know that Bani Israel in one day, between طلوع الفجر and طلوع الشمس and what they call غروب الشمس, between the time that sun comes up and the sun goes down, they kill 70 prophets. Then after that, it looked like that nothing happened. They make themselves busy for daily affair, buying and selling. And then he said, فلم يعجل الله عليهم بل أمهلهم وأخذهم بعد ذلك أخذ عزيز ذي انتقام اتق الله يا أبا عبد الرحمن. Allah gave them opportunity. Allah did not touch them till the time that time will be arrived, and then the revenge of Allah will be saved. And then Abdullah ibn Umar started to cry. He said, now I am sure that I cannot change your mind. You will go to Kufa and you will be killed. But please let me to kiss the place that I saw many times Prophet Muhammad kiss that place of your body, that part of your body. And then Imam Hussein put his abba other side, and he start to kiss the chest of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu. May Allah give us the success to follow the way of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, to be considered as the mourners of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.